Hi guys, it's Lita. So today I thought I would do a different kind of video. I haven't sat down and just talked in a while. A lot of them have been tags, like hauls, whatever. So I'm a big fan of the truth about working at a blah 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 store. So I think I'm going to do a couple of those videos for you guys to see if you guys like them, because I've definitely had a bunch of different jobs. I've been employed at like so many different places. I've got stories. And yeah, I just think, like, I don't know, maybe you guys might be interested in this stuff because they're just so different. All the jobs that I've had are so completely different from one another. I wanted to share some of my experiences doing those jobs and working for those companies for you guys. So the first one that I am going to talk about in this video is going to be the real truth about working at an orchard. So I worked at an orchard. I'm not going to name any names. It was a small orchard in like the middle of the country up in New England, and it was family owned, like I said, but everybody knew about it. So like we had a lot of tourists during apple season, and a lot of people came from New York State to this because that's kind of like a thing up north, is to get away from the city when it's like fall time and the like leaves are, you know, at full color, and then you go and pick apples and ride in a wagon, do like the hay ride. And yeah, that's like a thing. Get some apple cider, like go to the orchard gift shop, blah blah blah. So that's totally a thing. And that was the type of orchard that I worked at. It was a functioning orchard for like fall, for the tourist season, to sell a bunch of apples to tourists. And then that was pretty much it. It wasn't like a self-sustaining farm or orchard or anything like that. It was strictly like for the profit of the store and like for their cider for the store. So I started working there when my other job cut my hours, and they just didn't have enough hours for me. So I had to get a second job, and this was my second job, was working at the orchard. So I applied to be a cashier, which is you're a cashier and you're a stocker, because you basically have to do like everything in their little general store while you're being a cashier. So if no one needs to be run out, you're definitely doing, sorry about my phone, you're definitely doing like stocking, or you're like in the cooler, like just arranging stuff, or you're in their greenhouse, which is attached to the general store where they sell like plants. So they also had like a greenhouse up at the orchard where they like grew like herbs and stuff like that. I mean, I think they did. Like, I never went to the greenhouses, but the owner's daughter, which was the manager, said there were like greenhouses up there and they were like so amazing. And I don't know. You can definitely get plants shipped in, is what I'm saying. So I don't know if they grew those plants or what. But we had greenhouse duties too, which was like it kind of sucked in the summer and the winter, because like in the winter you were cold, and like in the summer you were like dying because you had to deadhead too, which is like picking all the dead stuff off of the plants. Otherwise, if you don't deadhead, the plants look like ass and no one wants to buy them, or like they die, because basically if it's not deadheaded and the dead part of the plant like consistently stays in the plant and starts rotting, it's going to kill the plant, because it's rotting the plant because of that rotting piece of foliage or dead flower is left and being watered. And yeah, so they're just like some jobs that like were meh to have like working there. So like the greenhouse was one of them in the summer and the winter because you were hot or you were cold, but there wasn't really that much in the greenhouse to do in the winter, really. It was just kind of like tidy it up and stuff like that. The other thing about the greenhouse is whenever anybody went in the greenhouse and it was summer, like it would just like waft all this like humid hot air in there when people went in and out, because it's a greenhouse. So like, and obviously the customers didn't care because they were like in and out of that, but for us, like it just sucked because it would just take that much more of the like pittance of air conditioning that place had during the summer away. And you know, they had air conditioning, but like if you have people constantly in and out of a place, it's just gonna like struggle so hard to keep you cool. And when there's a lot of people, you're going to be hot and miserable. Thankfully, the uniform for that place was an apron, and that was like you got to wear whatever you want underneath. So you could wear like shorts and a t-shirt. You weren't allowed to wear tank tops because it was like the owners didn't care for it. They thought that was like showing way too much skin. Whatever, you know, every job has their uniform code. So, and the cooler sucked in the winter because you were cold, but you had to, you know, get vegetables out and restock vegetables because there were vegetable bins and there were fruit bins, and there were cheeses that we didn't really have to get those out, but you had to get like other stuff out of the fridge. There's milk. Like lots of people bought their cream and stuff there, so you'd have to go into the freezer, refrigerator part to get people their stuff. So, but it was so nice in the summer. Oh my god, I loved like stocking the juice in the summer because they had like cold drinks and like Snapple and stuff like that. And stocking that in the summer was like, oh, it was heaven. It was heaven. So, but there were things about the orchard that I didn't know previously to not working at an orchard. So, for example, like the way that the vegetables get rotated. So everyone's like, you know, if you like pick from the top, that's the freshest. It's not. We were told to rotate the stock that was underneath in the vegetable and the fruit bins and put that on top. And so you basically had to take everything out of the bin, put up a certain amount that would fit in that bin, and then stock the rest of the ones that were already in the bin before you put the new ones in on top. So the new ones, the ones on the top of, and this goes for like Walmart and everything, that those are the oldest ones. They have been sitting out there the most. And that goes for like strawberries, any of the vegetables that went for their baked goods. Everything that had been there for like a little bit was pushed forward, and the newer stuff was put in the back. And yeah, so, but the baked goods went pretty fast, so there wasn't anything like sitting out there for a couple days. The only thing that like it was refrigerated, like at night everything got put into the fridge that was perishable. But they did like crisp, and I don't know if you guys know what crisp is, but I'll try and put a picture here if I remember. But they did apple crisp and strawberry rhubarb crisp. Rhubarb is the grossest thing ever, first of all, and then when you put it with strawberries in crisp, and then that crisp has sat in and out of cold and hot temperature for like a week. Oh, it's, no, I'm sorry, like it's not okay, and I would never eat that. I would never eat it. I think maybe that's partly because I knew how many times it went in and out of a fridge, and that's just not good for food. I don't care, like it's not, like that's not sanitary, you know what I mean? Like you can get somebody sick, and like it just, you could tell when it was getting like weird, it was getting like super watery and separating and stuff like that. It just like, I can't actually look at apple crisp today and be like, that looks good, because it doesn't. It never will. It will never look good to me. It didn't before, but I was kind of apathetic, but now I'm just like,
that's nasty.
So there was the crisp thing that was kind of gross. The cheese thing too, we rewrapped cheese a lot. So if like it was their cheese, but it got brought in from a Cisco truck, which is just a food distributor that a lot of restaurants use. It's very common. But we rewrapped cheese a lot. We rewrapped some of the like mozzarella and stuff that got rewrapped. And I was just like, this is kind of like sketchy, like someone might get sick, but they didn't care. I'm sure it's still an operation, you know what I mean? So it's just like things that they did with food that I was like, really? Because I wouldn't do that, you know, like even with like my own like personal food that I know what's going on with it, I wouldn't. It's just, it's gross. It's really gross. And the pies too. The pies were the same thing. Like you didn't know, like, yeah, there was a date on it, but like I don't, you know, I wasn't like keeping track of the pies. And oh my god, it was such a scam. Okay, so the other thing about the pies, why like everyone was like, their pies are fresh, their pies are fresh, their pies are fresh pies. No, they are fresh frozen pies. So Cisco made these pies, we put them in our oven, and this also goes with the bread. It was parboiled bread. So everybody, all these tourists and stuff are walking in here like, I got a fresh pie, I got fresh bread, like my Thanksgiving is gonna be so amazing because I got this fresh pie from this orchard, they made this pie. No, they didn't, hunty. They did not. It's not fresh. It's fresh frozen. And I think the pies got a little old too. I think there were some that were like past the shelf life date, but like how would you know if it was just turning around? And so like how would you know if it was like turning around on that pie thing for all eternity? Basically, it's not like they were marked really when they got shoved into the pie thing. So yeah, that was like just such a like a ripoff. You know, like they were kind of like ripping people off, even though it's like the little teeny sign said fresh frozen. Yeah, but that's pretty much like most of my like weird things that happened in the orchard. You know, like the apples weren't really their apples for a good part of the year. The cider was something else that was like questionable as far as like how long it was good for. But these are things that you find out when you work at like a orchard slash like food provider, not a restaurant, but you know, somebody that sells produce. So yeah, let me know if you guys have ever worked in an orchard or anything like that, like a farm or something like that, that is definitely selling people products that they make. And thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on other social media. My links will be posted in the description box down below. Hit that notification bell so you guys know when I upload. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.